Okay, you ready for this? Hold on. You go, little Mr. Producer. You see this? Okay, I'm gonna pull back up the charts. All right, I'm gonna hide this. Oops. I'm gonna hide this. Let's take a look here. Okay. So it's been a little bit since we'd spoken last. Last time we spoke was on Monday or Tuesday of last week. All right. I was in Vegas. We're back from Vegas. We definitely spent a few dollars while we were in Vegas. But look what has happened since we've been talking about this on stream. Okay. So first thing we're going to look at is Bitcoin. We talked about how we lost this bull market trend. This was the false breakdown right here. This is where everybody shit themselves because we lost the bull market trend, which was this line right here. Okay. So if you go back to the bear market reaccumulation range, which was down in here, the originating move to the bull market started right here. And this is where the trend line started. Okay, we tagged it August 5th. We tagged it here as we were going through this range of death. Broke out, distributed, broke down out of that range. And that's whenever we came and tagged the line again. And then we had this false breakdown that basically was to get people to capitulate before this next leg higher. Okay, so we had this false breakdown, and we were saying that as soon as we reclaim this bull market trend, and just so happened to break this downtrend right here at the same exact time, look at the confluence. This is when I was saying inside of the Discord, okay, this is where you shove. This is where we're fucking bulled up to the tits again. This is where we're shoving, okay? And guess what happened? As soon as we reclaimed all of that, let me get rid of this fucking... As soon as we reclaimed and broke that downtrend, we start pumping, okay? And then why was I saying on a macro basis we should stay bullish? And why I believe that there's going to be this next huge pump in crypto. I've been saying this for months. Look at this. Global M2, global liquidity, okay? What's going on with this? It's a leading indicator. So as the global liquidity goes up, markets go up, okay? So if you take a look at global M2, let's even do it like this, okay? So you pretty much get the sideways price action here, right? You pump up here, and then following crypto will pump up. Then we get sideways in M2. It moves sideways. Well, guess what happens here? Crypto, equities, those sorts of things move sideways. Finally, you have M2, global liquidity, move up starting here, top out here, okay? So that's from June to September over the course of a couple of months. And then this move on global M2 as the global liquidity supply moved up, more money is available, okay? Then you get that blast off move in crypto, okay? It's a leading indicator. So when you see this now moving down, the bottom, let's call it, over here before we start moving up again. Now we had this period where we moved down. This then led this move right here where we moved down, okay? So it's a leading indicator. Liquidity goes down, so the markets, okay? But then what happened here? You've been moving up since January 25. We've been moving up, and we've been tracking this. I've been talking about this on stream for months. You can go back and look at the tape. Global M2 has been moving up steadily since the beginning of the year. Why? Because China's stimulating. This is also why Trump imposed tariffs on China in the time frame that they did, because they knew China was vulnerable. They were going through their own economic depression. People don't talk about this. The media doesn't tell you the truth. Don't listen to the fucking media. No, what was actually happening? The people behind the tariffs, the people behind the markets, the way that they're working, Scott Bessent, the individual that Trump has in place to handle these sorts of things, these guys are geniuses. These guys have made people multi-billions of dollars in markets before. They understand what they're doing. They imposed tariffs on China when they were at their weakest so that they had they had leverage in terms of negotiating. Then you see this past weekend, just yesterday, they came to an agreement with China on trade. right? China, oh, we're not negotiating with the U.S. We're not going to be puffing their chest, trying to make it seem like they're stronger than they are. Come to find out, they make a deal this weekend with U.S. Why? Because they had to. The U.S. had leverage. Trump is the master negotiator, the master deal maker. He understands what the fuck they're doing. So what had happened is, so China was stimulating. The U.S. now, just recently starting to stimulate. The European Union starting to stimulate, right? Liquidity is going up. So if Bitcoin from global M2 topping out right here was able to go to new all-time highs, so it was right here, right? That's where it topped, right? Bitcoin was able to go up to 107,000, 108,000. Well, if global M2 gets back up above where that was and then higher to new all-time highs, then for me, I'm saying, okay, we're getting rate cuts to come. If the trade war subsides, if markets start to relax themselves in terms of the uncertainty that was created by the tariffs, then I don't understand why, if M2 is going up higher than where it previously was here for this all-time high on Bitcoin, then to me that means we're getting the next leg up on Bitcoin. Next leg up being 2 price targets. Well, we'll put that in the Discord. You want price targets? You want to know whenever we're fucking buying, selling? Okay, well, we'll see you inside the Discord. But the next leg up is happening on Bitcoin. Okay, that's my thesis on a larger term basis. Locally, we're due for a little pullback. Okay, we could keep ripping potentially this week, it's possible, but locally we're due for a pullback. But on a macro sense, in terms of the cycle continuing, I still am under the impression that the cycle continues. We get one more leg up higher, and it's going to be in a fucking explosive leg. And this is going to be the leg where you finally see your alt season, when you finally see ETH BTC pump, where you finally see these altcoins go to, multi-10, deca-billion-dollar valuations, potential $100 billion valuations, like a Pepe or a Dogecoin. This is the part of the cycle where you see that, because you're going to finally see that rotation from, you're finally going to see that rotation from Bitcoin into things like Ethereum, where you're going to start to see ETH BTC, hopefully, start making a move like this, or it did right here, except over here, right? This is the part of that cycle, okay? But M2 is at new all-time highs. So if I see M2 at new all-time highs, that's telling me, okay, I'm liking what I'm seeing, okay? But we've been talking about this. This is what I've been fucking saying. So M2's at all-time highs. I see new all-time highs on Bitcoin. There you go. All right, so let's get that out of there. So global M2's leading indicator. All right. So let's just take a look at RSI quickly, just so that you understand why I'm saying potential local pullback here. So on the daily time frame, Bitcoin is overbought. Now, we in the past have come up higher in the overbought territory than where we're at right now. Okay. Same here. Same here. Okay. So basically what I'm saying is, potentially, you get a little bit higher this week. Maybe you tag all-time highs or make new all-time highs this week, possibly. That's definitely possible based on the RSI. But you're definitely close to a local pullback or a potential take-profit zone. Okay, now that's on the daily time frame. Here's where the bull market continues, though. On a higher time frame, though, so over the course of the next month or two, though, I certainly see Bitcoin going higher, okay? As long as we're not, actually this was just the exit pump into a bear market, because that's always a possibility. It could be an exit pump into a bear market. But, I mean, for us to go this close back up to all-time highs, I don't see that being the case. So, this quickly. RSI on the weekly, we were way overbought up in here in this pump in March before we went into this massive reaccumulation range. And we also went way up into overbought over here in this pump, okay? We have yet to become overbought on the weekly on Bitcoin, okay? So also over here, so you see in the past where we've gone. So this to me tells me we still got room, we still got space on Bitcoin to go up higher, okay, on the weekly.